Hey everybody, welcome back to Vegas Tips and Tricks for Saturday, January 4th, 2020. I am now only 10 days away from Las Vegas. But we're going to do a show anyway. But first, a few housekeeping details. So really just some inside baseball stuff for those of you following the channel. What to expect over the next couple of weeks. On Wednesday, it's scheduled. You can set a reminder. Our first real live stream coming to you. It's the preview to Vegas 44, my 44th trip to Las Vegas. I'll be there just talking about some of my tentative plans, as well as taking your questions and suggestions along the way. So I don't know how long we'll run that thing. I guess it depends on how much interest there is, but probably at least 30 minutes or so. So if you're around, drop on in. We'd love to have you in the live chat to see how that goes. We did a little test a while back and it went pretty well, so looking forward to that. I will say 80% chance there will be a show next Saturday. I will actually be on the road. I'm spending a few days with my family up in Nebraska before taking off to Las Vegas, and I'll be leaving sometime fairly early on Saturday morning. But I will look to tape at least some sort of a show Friday night and get that up so that you don't miss out on this beautiful face at all. And then you can expect, starting the following Wednesday, that would be the 15th, you can expect to see daily vlog entries from my trip. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There will not be a regular show on Saturday, obviously. And there will not be a vlog on Sunday. I leave way too early in the morning to put together the previous day's vlog, so that'll probably be Monday, and we'll probably do some kind of a wrap-up trip home feature the following Wednesday, and then we'll be back to normal. We will probably have a number of additional bits of Vegas footage, which I will splice in on Wednesdays, at least for a few weeks. I'm planning to do a few walk-arounds, and of course we'll have the standard room videos. So that's what to expect. It's not a huge week in the Vegas news, but we do have something to talk about coming up next. Okay, so I don't know if this qualifies as news, but let's call it informed speculation. Yesterday on the Vital Vegas website, you should definitely be following Vital Vegas on Twitter and checking out their website, because usually if they say something, it's pretty on point. And they're saying that the Tropicana is all but sold. The Tropicana, yes, that sort of jewel of the Strip that everybody forgets about. It's been there forever. It's been passed around quite a few times. Recently remodeled. It's currently owned by Penn National, who own a number of casinos around the country, a couple in my area, and also own the M Resort. They've owned it for several years now, I would say. I believe they bought it from Colony Capital. It gets very confusing. And now it may be sold. But what kind of a sale will it be? Will it be a real sale, or will it be one of these fake sales that people like to show you the headlines, and then in the fine print you discover it doesn't really mean anything? I heard there's a rumor, and it may be started by people wishful thinking, that Boyd might be interested in acquiring Tropicana to reestablish a presence on the Strip, which they have not had since the closing of the Stardust. May it rest in peace. I'd be all in favor of that. It would be a casino operator that has properties on the Strip, downtown, and off the Strip, which as a customer would be great, because you could potentially move around and stay different areas. I'm pretty sure there is no casino operator that has a presence both downtown and on the Strip. So that would be something. But I wouldn't hold my breath. There's always speculation about Boyd jumping back into the Strip market, and I don't know that that's likely to happen. It could be another one of these SLBs. It's our abbreviation of the week. They could be another sale leaseback. So we're going to talk about that really briefly, just to fluff up this news story. You may remember back in the summer, about the same time they announced that they were going to sell Circus Circus to Phil Ruffin, that the MGM also announced that they were selling the Bellagio to an investment group, Blackstone, I believe, which I think also owns the Cosmopolitan, but there's no connection there as far as affiliation, and then was going to lease the property back from them. And you might ask why you would want to do this. Well, casino companies are typically in debt. A lot of debt. Bankruptcies are common. You might wonder why you can sometimes buy their stock for a couple of dollars. Well, despite the fact that they have a license to essentially print money for some reason, mostly because they keep wanting to acquire more and more properties, most casino companies are in debt. And if you sell a property for $4 or $5 billion, which I think was around the price for the Bellagio, you get a sudden infusion of cash, which you can use either to retire some of your debt, potentially give some perks to your shareholders, or potentially just go out and acquire even more debt. We don't know what if that's what Penn National is trying to do with Tropicana or not. We do know that is basically what MGM was trying to do with Bellagio and succeeded. And they're also trying to unload the MGM Grand, and that was supposed to close by the end of last year, and I have not heard anything about that. So Caesars has done this at some of their properties around the country, and there is speculation that with the merger of Caesars and Eldorado, we haven't heard much about that lately, have we? That they may do that with some of their Vegas properties as well, again, to get an infusion of cash. And of course, for the buyer, it's this, you've got to acquire, a valuable piece of real estate, and you have a sure source of income from that real estate with the yearly lease payments from the casino companies. It has basically zero impact on you as a customer. So, when you hear someone say, the MGM Grand just got sold, make sure you read the fine print. And it would not surprise me if the Tropicana deal was something similar to that, but we will have to wait and see if that comes to pass. But as I say, Vital Vegas is usually pretty good on these sorts of tips, so we'll be following along to see what happens with the Tropicana. Now, it's time for our Vegas tip of the week. Our biggest tip this week comes from one of the members of our Facebook group. It is Patrick Miller, and we actually made it the tip of the day in the Facebook group, which, by the way, is going to hit like 3,700 members. We're adding like 100 people a day. So if you're coming here from there, thank you. I don't know where all these people are coming from, but hey, glad to have you on board. But Patrick responded to one of my daily tips with a note that, hey, if you're a U.S. veteran, you get free parking at M-Life. And I remembered that, in fact, both M-Life and Caesars have a program that if you are a veteran or active military, you will get some special perks from them. I believe in the case of MGM, basically you are upgraded immediately to Pearl, which is their second tier, usually not terribly difficult to reach, but it does entitle you to some free parking. Caesars does not formally give you a card status, but they do give you a special card, which again entitles you to discounts, free parking, and such. I'm not sure if there are other casinos in Las Vegas that do something for veterans. If you know, please definitely leave that in the comments below. I would think it would be fairly common. And again, those are the two biggest casino operators on the Strip, so if you are a veteran and you're planning to go to Vegas, or you're playing in those casinos, make sure you're getting the full benefits that you deserve for your service. And thanks to Patrick for passing that tip along. Of course, he will be entered to win a fabulous Las Vegas prize package. Now it's time for the Resort Casino Hotel of the Week. This week I'm going to talk about an off-strip property which a lot of people know about and a lot of people would probably go, huh? And that's the Orleans. For years and years, the Orleans was the casino hotel which I called home. And that was because they were very, very generous with their room comps. I would get buy one, get ones, or free nights during the week when I was gambling a very, very small amount. an amount that would make Mark Anderson blush. That's how little I was gambling. And the Orleans, along with the Gold Coast, was still putting me up for free. So I spent a lot of nights and have spent a lot of nights in that property. And I like that property. I've not spent as much time there over the past couple of years as I've been fortunate enough to get some comps on the Strip and downtown, but I certainly will return again at some point. It is an odd mixture. It is very much a locals property, very much a sort of mid-market, working class kind of place. Also the sort of place, a really good casino if you're driving, because you've got free parking, you're not dealing with the congestion of the Strip. It's right on West Tropicana, so it's a nice straight shot down Tropicana. Hey, you can park for free at the Tropicana for now. You know, check out the South Strip. They do have a shuttle bus that takes you to the Gold Coast and then drops you off at the Fashion Show Mall. It used to be at the Barbary Coast / Bills / Cromwell / High Roller area, but it's now been moved substantially north, which I don't think is particularly popular. I would rather be dropped off Center Strip, but if you like the north end of the Strip, you can get there for free. It's a huge casino, most every game you could want to play. I've spent a whole day there without ever leaving. Always found the people there friendly, the drink service good, the bartenders are great. A lot of locals come in there, so if you sit at the bar, you'll hear a lot of interesting stories. I've heard the dealers at the table games are a little surly. I don't really play those, so it doesn't affect me very much. The cocktail waitresses are prompt and scantily attired. But surprisingly enough, it's also a good place to go if you have to bring the kids along or the family along. You have to bring grandma along. There's a lot to do at the Orleans, which is good because there's not a lot around it. But you've got a bowling alley, you've got a movie theater, you've got a lot of restaurants from high-end sort of prime rib loft or seafood to you know, your simple buffet, coffee shop, and a huge food court with a lot of options that the kids will enjoy. So, you know, there's a lot to do around there. There's a decent pool. It's not huge, but certainly good for splashing around in the summer months. So definitely worth checking out. As I say, if you play a decent amount, Boyd is usually very good with room comps. At least they always were with me. I did a walk-around video actually inside the Orleans a few years ago, so if you want to check that out, I should do one of those things where I put it up on the top. Yeah, you can find it if you want to look at it. It hasn't changed much since that particular time. But as I say, just a good value property. You do get a really interesting mix as far as the clientele there. You know, in the know, you know, tourists, locals, people from Southern California. They host a lot of special events here, so if you're not careful, you could be there during the, you know, World Bodybuilding Championships or the World Cheerleading Championships. Of course, don't get excited. It's like high school cheerleaders. So they host a lot of events. There's an arena attached that has that hosts one of the March Madness conference tournaments there. I can't remember which one it is. But and a lot of, you know, they usually have some kind of college basketball festival there at some point during the year. I think they probably would have had that in November or December. But yeah, they have a decent showroom there with kind of your 70s, 80s pop rock sort of people. But so anyway, if you're looking for a value, you don't mind being off the Strip, maybe you want to be off the Strip, definitely check out the Orleans, one of my favorites. The rooms are okay. They could use a little work, but they're clean. They're a pretty good size room. So the Orleans is definitely worth checking out. That's why it's our casino resort of the week. So that's going to wrap up our first show of 2020. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, joining us up on the Facebook group, following me on Twitter. Make sure you do that if you want to catch every detail of what goes on in Vegas 44. I'm getting excited about the trip. Hope that you are too. We'll see you live Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central Time, to talk more about that. Until then, I hope that you have a great and lucky week. We will see you soon.